So this podcast episode, or not just this episode, but this podcast is about diving in behind the scenes to understand what makes people successful, right? And obviously within that, there comes habits and all kinds of daily routines, etc. But what do you feel is the thing that makes you, that is actually literally guiding and helping you on this path of success? What would that thing be that stands out to you?
I feel like just the knowing that whatever happens, I will figure it out, no matter what obstacle comes. Like I kind of had this, like when I left nursing, I was like, I'm going to figure it out. Doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter if like I go broke in the process, I'm going to figure it out. And being willing to keep figuring it out over and over again, even if you fail, even if, you look stupid when doing a live or whatever, like it doesn't matter. And each time that happens, like you get closer and closer to becoming that you, and that success. And that's kind of how I've approached everything. Like, well, I didn't know how to do this, so of course I'm going to have to figure it out. And trusting that like next step is going to be there. I don't need to have the whole plan. I just need to have the next step. And through taking that action, clarity on the next step comes and just keeps going and moving forward.
I like that. That's actually really good advice. I really like that. So also this listeners of the show is people that want to start a business, or they're stuck, or they have a business and they're stuck. They're just sitting on that fence. What advice would you have for somebody that is sitting on that fence?
When you keep on taking in information, you get confused. Your brain gets overwhelmed. It's completely normal brain behavior. And we keep telling ourselves that we just need to learn one more thing. We just need to read one more thing. If we learn more, we're going to be more prepared. But if you're starting a business and you've never started a business before, you don't know what you need to know. You don't understand what actually is important. And a lot of the times we get so focused on just like learning things, and I'll see people who have like 8 coaching certifications and stuff because they're so focused on the learning, but that's not going to be what actually creates your business. What creates your business is the taking action. And yes, you need to have the mindset. Yes, you need to be aligned. But when you take action, that's what's going to give you the clarity. You're going to be like, oh, that worked really well. Or I went out and talked to 10 people and I realized they all have the same problem. I really want to help people with that problem. Like, I feel like you need to just start taking action and then evaluate. Look at that. What went well? What didn't go well? What am I going to do differently? And just keep taking action. And through that action, the clarity will come.
Yeah. I love when you said that you just go out and speak to 10 people, and, because that is something that I teach, because I'm a marketing coach, right? And that's something that I teach, is really know and understand who your client is, who you're serving. And I mean, that's the core of your business. You're not going to do your awesome little videos just for the sake of doing them. You've obviously got a client or a person in mind that you do those videos for. Yes. So how did you identify your avatar, and what is your message to your avatar? Like, how do you identify that as a core in your business?
So I think it was the same thing. Going out there, telling people that I was a life coach, just like a general life coach to start with. Then I noticed the people I was gravitating towards were burnt out. But then I also, I kept talking to them. And then I realized that the people that were burnt out was because they weren't doing something that filled them with passion and they really wanted to start a business. And through the last, like 2-3 years, it was just getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And you kind of I feel like you just keep growing, and then you're like, oh, this container is uncomfortable. And then you expand more. And it was a process of continuing to speak to who I thought was my person at that time. And sometimes that shifted, and just being okay with that. I feel like at the beginning I was so no, but she's my perfect person. And be like, okay, but I've grown. So why not the person I'm speaking to could have shifted to?
Yeah.
And through that, just keep talking to people, see what resonates with you. What are you super passionate about? What could you get up and talk and do an hour presentation on? Sometimes some simple questions like that can help with the clarity. And then, it's a lot of just keep talking to people, just get on a 20-minute coffee chat with somebody and be ask, pick their brain and see where it goes.
Yes. And that is so, so key in business. And I want to strongly recommend to you guys as well. Like if you're sitting stuck with like who you're serving, do exactly what Janna just talked about. Go out and speak to people and just have those conversations, because it's amazing what comes from those conversations, right? It is really amazing, because it's things that you don't realize that people actually struggle with, because just because you don't struggle with it doesn't mean the next person doesn't have that problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of the times when, like, especially in the coaching profession specifically, like we have overcome so much that what is normal for us now, even though it wasn't normal for us, 5 years ago, like when we speak to people, we're like, oh, well, we used to struggle with that too. We overcame that. So sometimes like, you're like, oh, I don't struggle with that anymore, but I know how to overcome it because I already did.
Yes. Yeah. And that's exactly it, because sometimes you think of where you are now in your journey, but you have to take yourself back a few years when you started and where you struggled. And that's really key. That's really key to understand. How's your routine looking like? If you get up in the morning, what's your routine?
Yeah. So I have like a very solid routine and I like my routine. I get up like 6 o'clock and I like literally will eat my breakfast and I do like journaling, or like I'll sometimes do like gratitude rampage where I just focus on all the wonderful things that are happening in my life. I do tend to like read like kind of like a devotional or something that has journal prompts in there. I'll do those kinds of things. Sometimes I will pull oracle cards or do a meditation, really like connecting to myself. And a lot of the times that's kind of like, all right, what do I need to share today? Like, what do I need to be speaking about? Like, what does my audience need to hear? And I'll kind of do that inner work to kind of prepare me to be able to show up and serve my clients or share on social media or whatnot, and feel like I need to teach. And a lot of the times that's when I'm like, oh, I need to do a master class and it's got to be on this topic. Like that's the time where like my creative energy is like flowing. And then I'll generally do a workout, take a shower, and then I start my client calls or like back end processing, whatever's there. Generally I do like 4 hours of work and then I have clients on top of that.
Okay, nice. That's a good solid routine. And I love the fact that you're journaling and you do gratitude journaling. Can you dive a little bit into your gratitude journaling? What is the purpose behind that?
Yeah. So our brain, like what we focus on, we create more of. And when you program your brain to constantly be looking for those things to be like that are working, when you constantly are looking for those things that you do love, your brain is always then looking for more opportunities to create more of that. Yeah. So when you add a gratitude practice and you're like, oh, I like really love my like new bed, or like it's so cozy and warm, I love my like fuzzy blanket, or like whatever, like it does not need to be serious. You do not need to be like, oh, I like love this expensive thing. Like it could just be like, I really like my electric toothbrush, or like I really like my coffee mug. Whatever it is that gets you kind of into that mindset will start your brain on the like, oh, like endorphin hit, like, oh, that felt good, I want to create more of that. So it's really just kind of like priming your brain and rewiring it to create more of that good stuff. And I think it also just kind of sets you up to receive more amazing things, because if you're focusing on all the ways that your life is working, you're kind of in that right mindset. And when you're in that energy, then you go and meet somebody, you're like, oh, I can help them, or like you're in that energy of service, rather than like being in the energy where like nothing's working, like I'm not going, I'm not there fast enough or whatever. So really my gratitude journaling is kind of different every day. It's very much like I could literally be like, if I'm not really feeling it, I could just be like looking at things on my desk and being like, oh yeah, I'm grateful for that coffee mug. I'm great, like it, or it is like bigger things. Like I go on like talking about how wonderful my clients are and I'm so grateful to have worked with them. So it's kind of wherever I'm at, but it is something that I try to incorporate every day.
Yeah, it is such an incredible success habit. And I think it's something that is overlooked quite a bit. And I just personally, I love gratitude journaling and talking. Look, I've got 2 kids, and evenings we do gratitude prayers, like, saying thank you. And they each have 3 things that they should be grateful for. And it's just such an amazing thing if you think about the things that we actually have, even in these crazy times, we have so much to be grateful for. And it's right, as you say, it's that it makes you just happy and it's kicking that endorphins off. And it's, I love that. I really do. As we know, Janna, entrepreneurship is quite challenging and there's always challenges that comes up, but I guess it's like how we overcome those challenges. So what has been your biggest challenge in the last year and how did you overcome that?
Okay, so it was definitely leaving my nursing job before I fully had evidence that, like, I mean, I had a few clients, but I didn't have as many clients as I was making, like to support the income that I was making in my nursing job. Yeah. So fully believing in the fact that I could make it and figuring it out. And I feel like there was like a few month period that I was kind of like floundering and focusing on all the ways it wasn't working, and like, I should be able to do this, I should be, like, why isn't it working? Yeah. And I feel like I had a lot of these wonderful gratitude practices and things before, and then once I got into that more stressful situation and being like, I have to make this work, I was so focused on working that I wasn't focusing on taking care of myself, doing my gratitude journal, doing my self-care time, really like pouring into myself. And that kind of was like, oh, well, it's not working. And I feel kind of like exhausted again. Like I've got back into that like kind of burnout stage. And I was like, oh, so shifting back, bringing all those routines back was kind of the thing that I needed to figure out. And I feel like I needed to figure it out the hard way personally, to create a sustainable business where I can enjoy my life. I like to say you do the things and then you live your life. Like you do the things that you need to do to help build your business. And then you just go and enjoy your life. And the times of rest, the times where I'm enjoying my life are generally when I get the messages for new clients coming, or, like new things coming in, and allowing that, I think it's like allowing the space for you to receive. Because if you're so busy trying to like do all these things and do more, like you don't have time for more clients. But if you allow that time, that empty space where you're just kind of enjoying life, you're like, oh, I do have the time for clients. Like you're like creating the space ahead of time.
Yeah. That is beautiful. I really love that. I never thought of it like that, creating space for clients and things, because you do have to have your me time and your quiet time and enjoying life time. And as entrepreneurs, we tend to not do that as much. I used to fall into now I am very good at it, but before I wasn't. Like I would just work flat out 60 hours a week and not create time for myself. And it is so true what you said. It's really important.
Yeah.
So we did establish what you do, Janna, like earlier in the episode, but can you just tell people again, where can they reach you when they want to get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at Janna Holterman Coaching on Instagram and Facebook. And then I have a Facebook community, From Shift Work to Dream Work, that you can find there. And you can send me a message anytime on social media. I'm always available.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. Is there anything else that I could have missed that you want to share with the audience today?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you so much, Janna. I appreciate your time. And thank you so much what you do for the nurses in the communities. And yeah, it's really great that you change so many lives, and that's fantastic. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. This was so wonderful. I really enjoyed doing it.
Thank you. And guys, I strongly recommend go and check Janna out. Like I said, she's got a really fun Instagram page. I enjoy watching her little videos. It's really awesome to watch. And it's not just fun to watch them, but it's full of like really great knowledge. So yeah, I really strongly recommend to go and join Janna's Facebook group too. Thank you so much, and have a good day, Janna.
Thank you.